Thank you. It's a pleasure to be amongst all of you. I'm here to talk about change, and through that, I will leave you with what I believe are three very important ways of going about life without a plan. And bear with me when I do that. So, hypocritically, I started my life with a plan. I was one of those rare kids in school that knew exactly what I wanted to do in life very early on. So as early as class 7th and 8th, I knew exactly what my life would be, and it was a 3-step plan. Step 1, go to the US for a PhD. Step 2, join NASA as a space scientist. And step 3, become the first man on Mars. This is before Elon Musk. This is before Shah Rukh Khan in Swades. I have not been polluted by any Bollywood, no entrepreneurial porn. This is true middle-class Indian ambition to go to the US for a fine education. And of course, if you do a PhD in astronomy or astrophysics, where else would you want to work but NASA? ISRO was nearly not as cool as it is today. And if you are a space scientist as NASA, then where else would you want to go and retire but Mars? So the plan was very clear. This was exactly what I wanted to do, and everything that I was doing in life was towards this plan, executing on it, making sure that I was good at it. And as most of you may know, DU and everything else is just a means to the eventual goal. So it's applying to the US and getting the PhD. So I start applying to the US colleges, and I get through Michigan State University for a PhD program in astronomy. So I'm on this fast track, my professors love me, I'm acing the exams, my students hate me. It's this beautiful orchestra that's unfolding in front of me exactly the way that I had planned, except I could sense that something was missing. And we all know when something's missing. We may not want to admit it, we may not want to come to terms with it, but we all know when something's missing. And it was very evident that there was something that wasn't working well. I was doing it, I was killing it, I was successful at it, but the hum, the buzz, that was not there. And I began to have these very difficult conversations with myself, and it struck me after a series of such difficult conversations that physics was something that I was good at. It was something that I was good at, but it wasn't something that made me happy. And that was a very stark realization, because for the first time, I recognized that these two things could be different. What you're good at and what you're happy with needn't be the same. And that was contrary to everything that I had been told and taught. My parents had told me, if you're good at something, you automatically become happy doing it. And that's the way the world works. And clearly, that wasn't the sign for me. So now I had two choices to make. Continue with the path that I was on, the plan that I'd set for myself, and I'll get all the socially desirable outcomes. Like everything that I want in life, the car, the house, the car, vacation, the Instagram photograph, whatever it is, everything that I want will come my way, but maybe it wouldn't make me happy, or to pursue whatever happiness meant. And I took that call, and I decided to drop out of my PhD and come back to India. And you can imagine how that conversation went with my parents. In that moment of moral courage, I came back to India and dropped out of my PhD. So I'm back in India. My parents are devastated. No one's supporting me. I am completely clueless. I'm 25. I have no plan in mind. My colleagues from school or my batchmates from school, they're getting fine jobs. Some of them are really excited, so they've also got married. So a lot is happening all around me, and I am like completely starting up. Like I had no idea. And my friends were like, look, you are confused. So why don't you do what most confused people do? Go get an MBA. So I applied to this young school called ISB, and I thankfully got through. I have no idea how, because I don't think I will make the cut today if I were to apply with that same credentials. But back then, maybe they looked at me as diversity, like US returned hai, kuch to bol dega. If nothing, we'll put him on the admissions brochure that we're international and shit. So it worked out. I landed up at ISB, and that 1 year just fundamentally changes me. It completely alters the way that I have come to think of myself. So I sat through consulting jobs and got through a really good consulting firm. And the next thing I know, as a 26-year-old, I'm sitting in the boardroom of companies, facing people whose faces I've seen on the covers of newspapers and magazines, telling them on how they should be running their business, basis the Excel sheet model that I have made, basis my understanding of their company, of which I had no idea until 3 months back. And it was wild. I was like, why are you even listening to me? I'm 26. Like, you've worked more in this company than I have lived on this earth. It doesn't make any sense. But somehow they were not complaining, and I wasn't complaining because I was getting to learn a lot. And 1.5 years into consulting, I meet with a friend of mine from business school. And he's like, I've started a new company, and I wanted to talk to you about it. I was like, sure, what's it called? And he's like, it's called secondshadi.com. And I was like, is it what I think it is? And he was like, yeah, I'm an engineer, I'm a coder, so I'll build this product out, but I need someone to lend in the marketing prowess, the content, just lend a soul to the product. And I think you could be good at it, so do you want to do that? And I said, look, man, I'm genuinely enjoying myself in consulting, and for the first time in my life, I'm learning something which is meaningful. So I think it'll be foolish for me to do this as yet. However, let me just, whatever time is left out of my day job, evenings, nights, weekends, let me just spend on Second Shadi with you and just see where it goes. I'm like, great, that works for us. We'll see how this goes, and let's take it as it comes. So that's what I did for another 1.5 years. My day job was a consultant, and I was Batman by night, fighting remarriages and making Second Shadi work, and whatever time was left was all going towards that. And it reached a meaningful scale where it warranted my full time now. And at that point of time, I decided to quit consulting, take a 80% pay cut, like down to the bare minimum financial existential amount that I needed to survive, and join secondshadi.com. So I did that. I joined Second Shadi full time, and we started jamming and building different products together. And the big one of that became Gaadi.com. It became India's #1 car classifieds website fairly quickly. And then in 2010, Go Ibibo, which back then used to do very random things, came along and said, hey, we believe in the car classifieds business, and that's a big opportunity, so we think you're doing a good job, and we want to buy you out. And we were like, great, sell. So we did, and 29, we made some happy money, and we went our ways. There are 3 of us, and I was looking for what next to do. And Groupon, which was a rather young US company, started in 2008 in Chicago, that came along. And they were setting up flags all across the world, India being one of them. So they were looking for someone to set up their India business. I got in touch with them. They liked me. I liked them. And the next thing I know, I started the Groupon India business from scratch in 2011. First employee, first office, first merchant, everything started from there on. Did that for a couple of years. Then I think they liked what I did, so they gave me Groupon APAC. So now I was managing countries beyond India. And for the first time, I recognized how horrible I am at delegation and what a control freak I am. Like, I have no idea how to get work done from people that I have no direct influence over. And that was a big unlearning for me and a relearning of sorts, where I've discovered a new side of myself and I had to fix that. Did that in the next couple of years. And then in 2015, Groupon was going through its own struggles, and the US and Europe were meaningfully large markets for it. So their attention towards India was minuscule, and I believed in the India opportunity a lot. So I went to the Groupon global headquarters and said, I want to buy the Groupon India business from you, and I want to make it independent. And their first reaction was, sorry, what are you talking about? We're a publicly listed company. You're a 100% subsidiary. This does not happen. And I was like, no, why don't you hear me out? And then they heard me out for 9 months. It took that long. And over 9 months, I convinced them that this was the right thing for them. And in 2015, we pulled that off. We bought the Groupon India business from Groupon, made that into Nearby, which is what continues to run today. And everything started from scratch. We raised our own money. We built our own product. We, of course, changed the brand name. We changed the business model. It was a start of sorts again. Did that for a couple of years. Paytm, which is a fairly large company, came along. They liked what we did, so they made an investment in us in 2017, and that was a big thing for us. And in October of last year, 2019, I stepped down as the CEO of Nearby, and I am exactly where I was 10 years back, completely clueless, no idea what I have to do in life. And if I were asked this favorite question of all times during an interview, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? I have no answer. The only answer I have is I do not know, but the big difference is I'm okay with that. And that's what happened to me when I came back from the US, because when I came back, I had two choices. Choice one was come up with another plan because your original plan failed. That's what we are all told. Come up with plan B and plan C and plan D and so on and so forth. That's how life treats us or has been told works. Or I told myself, is it even possible to live life without a plan? Is it possible that you have no plans, no goals for yourself, and all that you do is commit yourself to a way of living life, an operating system, a mental makeup that tells you what you ought to do every single day, week, month, year, and through that, you allow life to happen to you. You don't care where it's taking you because you're just so flexible, so agile, so welcoming that you're like, every opportunity is a great one. Because here's the deal with great opportunities. They do not come with the subject line, great opportunity. They just come. And it's only in hindsight that you realize, oh my God, this was such a terrific opportunity and I'm glad I took that up. But when you encounter it, there's so many of us who are boxed in the way we've been trained and the way we are executing our life that we wouldn't care to look sideways. And here are three things that have helped me think about life and the way that I live. Number one, I consciously, on a daily basis, actively seek out people who think and operate nothing like me. They are not similar to me. They are not familiar faces. They are not similar people. And that is contrary to how most of us operate. When we get into a heterogeneous mix, like say Bhagat Singh, you come from all walks of life, you've been thrown into a circumstance where everyone else has a different worldview, looks different, talks different, have come from very different upbringing. And what happened in the first 1 or 2 weeks of college? You found your tribe. You created those WhatsApp groups. You created those cohorts of familiarity. Oh, I want to be South Delhi WhatsApp group. I want to be North Campus WhatsApp group. I want to be South Campus WhatsApp group. I hate Bombay WhatsApp group. I love this, I that. Like these associations, these bonds that you wish you belonged to. But the thing about those is that you do not learn anything new when you're around people who are similar. You only find out something new about the world when you spend time with people who are nothing like you. And do that on an active basis. Don't do it as a matter of convenience, but do it as a matter of discipline, where you go out and actively spend time. If you're from BCom honors, spend time with people who are from Hindi. If you're from Hindi, spend time with people who are from physics. And that's the last thing you would think about. You're like, no, I don't want to. It's that association that I don't want to create, but those are the individuals that will teach you and show you something new about this world. Spend time with people who are nothing like you. Number two, at some point of time, maybe the day you got the admission at Bhagat Singh, maybe the day you got your 12th boards exam and you're like 90-some%, some obnoxious, obscene number. And I had 81% in 12th. I have no idea how people who get 98% even live one day more in their lives. Do they not think where the 2% went? Will they not kill themselves? Oh shit, if I just worked 15 minutes more in my life, I could have got the 2%. Anyway, so go back to a day when you genuinely felt accomplished. You felt like you've done something. And maybe at some point of time, you stand in front of the mirror and you find yourself saying, I deserve this. I deserve this. I have worked so hard in my life that I deserve to be here. And that is a lie. It's a lie that you keep telling yourself because here's the truth. The truth is none of us in this room, including me, deserves to be where we are. We're just plain lucky. We're just lucky, and I call it the genetic lottery. We were born in a family that took care of us, that gave us food, shelter, education, love, upbringing. And because of that, we sit on opportunities that most people outside of this fancy India International Center will never get to see even for a second of their lives. And we take it for granted. We think that we've worked hard enough to be at that spot. So this level of entitlement that comes in, where we feel that the world owes us a lot, where we feel that the world has to comply, where we start complaining about random shit, like Swiggy is late, the cab's not showing up, the internet's slow, it's so hot, this chair is creaky, this professor does not know how to speak, my friends are not inspiring, I have to do 2 more hours of work, I don't get to see this Netflix episode the day it launches. Random shit and complaining around that only and only makes you habituated to this entitlement. And if you were to drop this entitlement, go back to this very basic argument that I don't deserve to be where I am, and I have to work my ass off every single day to come close to a point where I think I could tell myself, maybe you've worked hard enough to get there. That's the only attitude that works. So the number 2 thing is don't get entitled, which brings me to the last one. And that's the fact that everything around us, this room, this fancy office, this nice campus, this world that you've been bestowed upon, all of it is designed to make one thing happen for you, make your lives comfortable. That's what we want, right? You want a book, click. You want a cab, click. You want food, click. You want love, swipe right. Everything that you want is happening at the speed of thought. It's exactly the minute you thought about it. And that tricks us into believing that the job of our life, the purpose of our existence is to make our lives comfortable. Ironically, the people that you look up to, that you would want to become, that you feel have done it in life, are consciously, on a daily basis, choosing the path of maximum resistance. They are choosing the path of discomfort actively. And that's the big difference between how most of us are tricked into believing and living life and how the ones who move the world forward live. They are not making themselves comfortable. And go back to your first few years of college and now think of all the choices that you make on a daily basis to make your life comfortable, to get that 15 minutes of extra sleep, to not work that 1 hour that you ought to, not challenge yourself, not face your fears. You're scared of public speaking and yet you wouldn't come up on stage. You do not know how to reach people and cold email, yet you would not write one. You have no idea how to network and bond with people whose faces you do not recognize, yet you will not throw yourself into those situations. Nothing that you do in college, nothing that you do in college is going to mess up your life, unless it's illegal. But nothing that you do is going to mess up your life. And yet, you will choose the comfortable path. Yet, you will choose the easy path. Yet, you will choose the path of least resistance. And that just blows my mind away. Because that's not the purpose of it. So the third thing and the last one is don't get comfortable. Don't get comfortable. And if you were to think and consider, and not stand here as a proponent of this is the right way of living life, but just for you to explore and identify, spend time with people who are nothing like you, don't feel entitled at any moment of your life, and don't get comfortable, you possibly will have a way of living life where there is no goal that's required, there is no ambition that needs to be set. All that is committed to is a way of living life. And if you were to do that, you'd be surprised at how life treats you. Thank you.